Call this meeting to order the Topsham Select Board. It is May 21st, 2026, and we're in the Town of Topsham meeting of Please rise and pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Patty, will you call the roll, please?
Certainly will. Roland Tufts.
Here.
Ann Callahan.
Absent.
Ryan Holmes.
I am here.
David Kenny.
I am here.
Mike Levy.
I'm here also.
Everybody's present except Miss Callahan. Thank you. Was she excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, town manager report.
The Memorial Day ceremony will be held at the memorials outside in the courtyard outside here on Monday at 8:25 a.m. Some of the streets in the area get shut off to non-parade traffic before that time, so the public will want to walk, bicycle, or arrive early. Following the ceremony, the parade will begin its trip to Brunswick and cross the new Topsham Brunswick Bridge for the first time. The town's non-emergency services offices will be closed on Memorial Day. Thank you to Public Works for getting our flags all out and replacing the shrubs at the end of Winter Street, as well as our planner, Josh Franklin, who also happens to be a landscape architect, for recommendations of shrubs that he believes might survive better in the location. That's it.
Great. Next up, board and committee reports. There are none tonight. Any public comment? Not seeing any in the audience, it's all that active, so
There's nothing online either.
nothing online. All right. Next, correspondence. Did anyone receive anything this week? No adjustments to the agenda.
I should be good with one item. Sure. It's to add, the Chief Gordon also has a wellness grant application that they'd like to approve. So when we're up here with all this other stuff, we can throw this one.
Excellent. All right, next up, consent calendar. Approval of the minutes of the regular select board meeting held on May 7th, 2026.
So moved.
Second, moved and seconded, all in favor? Motion carries 4-0. The public hearing, no one unfinished business, no old business, on to new business. 2654, consideration and any appropriate action to raise EMS billing rates by 5% to match industry standards. Chief?
Turn the microphone.
Good evening. Yeah, we've been in contact with our US billing company. They're the ones that contacted us and recommended us to raise the rate by 5%. This will allow us to capture the full amount of Medicare that we can. The last time we raised rates was in 2024, and that was at a 5% increase as well. So essentially, to be able to capture all that we can from Medicare, they recommended we raise it another 5%. Yes, consider that.
Are those rates, so we've had an increase in 2024, another one in 2026. Are those rates happening across the board in other towns?
Yes, we're pretty low on what we're charging.
Great.
What's the effective rate?
The effective date?
Yeah.
As soon as you guys approve it, I'll get it. Yep.
Does this in any way affect, it was discussed at town meeting about this, the new drug program policy and how that, and there was gonna be an expense associated with it. Does this incorporate that at all, or is this a separate issue?
A separate issue.
Anything else? Okay. I will make a motion to approve raising the EMS billing rates by 5% to match industry standards. Second. Moved and seconded, all in favor? Thank you. All right, 2655, consideration and any appropriate action to accept the bid on the RFP for a Tahoe to be purchased for the chief's vehicle out of budget for the fiscal year 26-27.
Yep, so this, after last week's town meeting and the budget being approved, this was in the 2026 budget for an amount of $80,000. I sent 4 bids out, got 3 back. The RFP we're gonna take is from a place, MHQ in Massachusetts. They do all the outfitting, everything, so once we get the car in, we will not have to send it out and we'll schedule all the outfitting for the lights and all that type of stuff. The only thing we'll have to do is radios. They all came in pretty close, but this actually was the least expensive and the least hassle, so it's the one we're gonna consider.
What was the price?
So the total price on this was 78,000.
Even?
It wouldn't actually be ready until the next fiscal year, is that correct?
Correct.
Scary how long it takes.
Yeah.
It's a plus getting it that way with the wires already running. We had the last one we bought, had a hard time finding somebody to wire the thing.
Correct, yes.
So it's a plus.
A number of other communities have used them.
What company is that?
MHQ.
HQ.
Yep. I know Freeport uses them, Scarborough, City of Portland.
Whatever we read
No comment.
it. That's important. I think the motion we accept the chief's recommendation.
In the amount of $78,000.
That's my recommendation.
Thank you.
Moving second, all in favor? Motion carries 4-0. Okay. And you go with those-
I don't-
oh, and then-
While the chief's there, if you wanna do item 2659, which is the
Then we have the additional item. Consideration any appropriate action to apply for a wellness committee special initiative grant to obtain funds to update the town gym at the public safety building.
So this is a non-matched grant, up to $2,000. So it says from $500 to $2,000. The employees may apply for this. It's through Wellness Works, and this is stuff for like gym equipment, anything wellness for the town. So since it is an overall town gym, we're just trying to find some funds where we can update that gym's 20 years old. It needs a little bit of updating. And again, this is a non-match grant. The most we could get is $2,000. So I'm just looking for approval to apply for this grant.
I would make a motion to approve the application of a non-matching grant to update the gym and the fire department,
Okay,
public safety.
police department uses also.
Sorry, public safety.
actually anytime, you guys could if you want. Let's know, we'll add the permissions to your cards.
I second it. All right, so second, all right. All in favor? Thank you. Right. 2656, consideration of any appropriate action to accept a $250 donation for the Comfort Dog Program.
So Chief Hagan was approached by Joe and Jeff Hipsher that would like to donate some money to help support Garver and his biscuits and whatever else they may need. And so we'd like to ask that accept that money.
Well, I make a motion to accept a $250 donation for the Comfort Dog program.
Second. Moved and seconded, all in favor? 2657, consideration of any appropriate action to accept the transfer station redesign proposals submitted by St. Germain in the amount of $23,600, which includes conceptual design as well as the options of existing condition survey and wetland evaluation. Take it away, Mr. Jeff Dennis.
Yep, so our RFP for the transfer station redesign yielded 5 proposals and took a look at all 5 and suggest going with St. Germain as our selected consultant. Based on their value, they're not the least expensive, but the second least expensive. They've got local familiarity. They've worked on that site before actually. Their EPR knowledge, which is the new packaging laws that will affect the transport station, seem pretty in depth. So yeah, I thought they were the best choice. And at this point, I guess I just need to ask if you approve for the town using $23,600 to go ahead and hire St. Germain as a consultant.
What's their timeline? It's just like,
So we laid out the timeline. This summer would basically be, June would be walking the site, answering questions back and forth like that. By the end of the summer, they'd have at least one, if not a few, conceptual layouts. We would, meet with them and land on which one we think is the best choice, and then they take that and further spec it out, detail it a bit. So this would not get us to construction level plans. That would be an additional engineering cost. But this would lay out what the site conceptual plan would be.
It's essentially the same footprint.
Yep, except for some like sub footprints, like the compost pad expansion, building out a retaining wall a bit, putting some hardscape over currently not like current lawn for a new road, because if we're gonna add scales, we'll need a new road to have the vehicles re-enter the scales. But overall footprint is not changing.
Questions?
So this is a proposal for a design. You're gonna get a piece of paper that shows the layout and an evaluation of the wetlands for $23,600.
They're also gonna give us good cost estimates of different pieces of it, like probably the piece, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, we need the most is the compactors.
Yeah.
Room. So they'll tell us that project is gonna be 200,000, whatever it might be. They might say adding scales is gonna be based on what you need to do for site work and everything is gonna be whatever number. So then we can plan, or you can plan and say, well, for now, let's do compactor, but let's wait on the scales, or let's do this piece. Then, so they're out, in addition to basically doing the design work, they're gonna give us cost estimates of the pieces so that, and then we can be able to go ahead and do a final plan to replace the compactor. Like they may recommend that there be some type of a structure over the compactors to protect them from rain, so they don't rust as quickly and things. Or they may not, so we're basically gonna see what they come up with.
Did they give you an estimate of hours that it would take them, or they're gonna spend on this for the money that we're spending?
They didn't break it down for hours, they broke it down per line item. So in the RFP, I broke it up into 6 tasks, and so they have a breakdown for that. So I can share the full.
Yeah, I would be curious to see that. The only reason I'm asking these questions is maybe we're in the wrong business, but it just seems like an awful lot of money for with what we spend on consultants in the past. We spend a lot of money on consultants for just information, and not that I'm not in favor of it. It's more just I'm floored with the amount of 23,600.
Would you share the price of the other consultants' prices?
Sure, yeah, the lowest was 14,000. Then this came, it was 19 originally, but with the optional wetland survey and the topographic survey, it was 23. The others were 32,000. And off the top of my head, 63,000 and 74,000.
Wrong business.
Correct.
So it is,
That's a crazy margin.
if we went ahead and did the construction, buying the scales, I don't know off the top of my head, but the scales are pretty expensive. A new baler, a new compactor, any other construction work we do. Having a professional who's done this dozens of times, I think, provides some reassurance that the installations are done correctly. It crossed my mind that, because we've showed some sketches ourselves and like how we think it would best be and whatnot, but I'd be a bit nervous to go ahead and hire that out, knowing that I'm not a transfer station design professional. But yeah.
What was the reason for not taking the lowest bid? Did they have something that was not good enough for what you were expecting?
No, it was more that St. Germain kind of shone through with their local knowledge and their proposal is a bit more detailed. I think they just show they put a bit more effort into really wanting this job.
They're actually designing the new EPR facility at Maine, so they've got a lot of expertise for the EPR part.
Yeah,
Kind of, I think your point's well taken about let's not spend a bunch of money on studies and do nothing with them. But what we've been trying to do is not buy more than we need at each piece. So for instance, with Pleasant Point Road, we had the conceptual design and we knew that that wasn't ready to build, but we thought if something comes forward with a certain piece of it, then we pay for the actual design, which is, then we had the design done for the nature-based solution part, which we now put up to bid. The thought was the same thing with this, get the idea of what the concept is, what can be done, then with the cost estimates, and then we can decide which piece, if any, or I think we kind of have to do the contractors, but what we want to go forward with, and then pay for the detailed design, at that part for that. So rather than try to have someone do all the designs all at once and then find out we don't need any, maybe you might say we don't want scales, in which case we paid a bunch of money to design a scale thing that we're not going to use. So the thought is we do incrementally to try to be responsible with money, not pay more than we need to. And then once we see the conceptual and you see what's possible, then you can tell us, yes, do go ahead and get actual designs for this piece. We'll proceed with that and won't have wasted money on stuff we don't use.
As far as the proposal, like 4 cups of coffee was a lot of reading. But reading through, I think their recommendation, the lower bid was nice, but this company having their knowledge in the area and some of that, and some precise thing they mentioned in the proposal, I like better.
Did I miss the proposal somewhere?
They were on the online. I saw it.
With the
Oh,
agenda
the agenda,
material,
yeah.
but
I've got hard copies here if you want to.
No, you're good. I clearly didn't do my homework before tonight.
I think I should have mentioned too, Saint Germain in their proposal mentioned experience with a lot of the vendors we work with and whatnot, so their familiarity with where our waste streams will go, and how the vendors on the flip side come and receive the materials, I think would be useful.
Said if did other stuff for us before, or just stuff in this area?
Derek, both. Derek contacted one of the principals of the company 3 or 4 years ago, because Derek saw how Hartzell was doing things with scales, and he said, hey, do you think we could do this? And so they actually came and looked at our facility about 4 years ago and gave some ideas. And in fact, a very rough conceptual plan that they had done is what we attached to our RFP to say, here's something that may work, you may have other ideas to start with. We got heart failure probably 18 months ago because Ed had someone come from DEP and then they sent him a letter afterwards and said we were running an unlicensed compost facility and we needed to stop. And it's like, what do you mean? We're licensed. And they're like, we don't have any record that you've been licensed, and they're going through their state stuff. So we went downstairs and started digging things up. And we found from, I think it was 1994, a sketch of a DEP application, and it like handwritten showed the pad that's our compost pad. And then we sent that back to them and said, this looks like we have a light? And they said, oh yeah, you're right, your grandfather, you're okay. But we're at the point now that Ed's running out of space on our compost pad. And the days have gone by that we could just bring Public Works in and pave a little more area and add to it. We now have to get that licensed. So one of the things that was reason why Deputy Public Works Director Dennison asked to have options of the survey piece is because we know that to submit the permit applications, we're going to need to have an actual site plan that shows where things are. And these guys, I think were actually the only ones that actually gave us that option back, right?
Yeah, meaning they paid close attention to the proposal. Yeah, and this fee would also include reviewing all of our licenses and permits, make sure we're up to snuff, make sure there's no gaps anywhere, and yeah, help us get organized on the regulatory front. So
And that helps us with OSHA, BLS, and everything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Like, there's another thing we know we need to do is they want to put a railing in front of where our metal recycling bins and
Yes.
stuff. So all this is,
So no one drives into
No one
the
pulls in.
doors.
but all this is why it's worth paying the engineering firm that specializes in this type of thing to give us our conceptual.
The only worry of the whole thing is they take a nice guard wall over there, snowmobile go away.
The museum.
Museum, yeah.
Do we, is there accountability to firms like this when we, consulting firms that put together bids and say, we're gonna make sure that you're up to code, if you will, with all your licenses and permitting? If the state comes in at one point after this, after we use their design and do the construction and say, you guys don't have this license, or you need this or need that, is there accountability for these consulting firms, considering that we paid them money for that reason?
Depending on how things are worded, I would say yes. You know, if we pay, like, we've asked what the cost would be and could we have them do our permitting? So if we're paying them to do our permitting and getting it right, they have to get it right.
And if they don't, then
They would be called, have some culpability for that.
And we would intend to hire them to do the
Yeah.
the permitting part too, not do that ourselves.
I have no more questions, sorry.
Yeah, thanks.
I would make the motion to accept the transfer station redesign proposal submitted by Saint Germain in the amount of $23,600, which includes the conceptual design as well as the options of existing condition survey and wetland evaluation.
Motion, seconded. Seconded, all in favor? Fine.
Thank you.
All right,
It'll feel good too, you know, inheriting the transfer station in a way, to know that everything's, all the gaps are filled, everything's been looked over recently.
You start with a clean slate, so
Yeah,
to speak.
Actually, as far as liability, we're in pretty good shape because we noticed on this year's application that Ed was sending in, which I guess Ed had been copying what he did in prior years. It says owner of the facility, he put Ed Karen. So maybe that's why they couldn't find the licenses, because it's been Ed Karen that's been issued.
I think we should rename the place the Ed Karen Topsham Waste Facility, or just the Ed Karen Dump. Yeah,
He's already got the ponds.
yeah, no.
But we did change it, so this year now the license is in the name of Town of Topsham rather than Ed Karen.
That's funny.
Good old lady.
Yeah.
not surprised.
Nope.
All right, 2658. Consideration of any appropriate action to nominate.
Whoever.
Someone.
So, this policy committee is organized by Maine Municipal, it's organized by legislative district. The idea is that anything that could affect municipalities, Maine Municipal professional staff brings in front of this committee to get their input. They might say, this is unworkable for this, you should do this, that. Our district's last two representatives were Mark Myers, the Bath City Manager, and Justin, our assessor, who you guys nominated a couple of years ago when he was elected, and they've been serving the district. He is willing to do it again if you want. If you want to nominate someone else, that's fine with him too. I actually saw the Bodenham town manager at, we had a meeting of administrators of Saginaw County towns this morning. And she said she's kind of interested. She's a former planner, and she thinks there's been a lot of odd things coming out of Augusta relating to planning and stuff. So she said she might be interested. I haven't talked to Mark to know that he's still interested. So I would say if none of you are interested, Justin's willing, so we've got someone on the ballot. And then in the meantime, before we come back in a couple of weeks to ask you to vote on someone, we'll talk to Mark and Justin and Nicole, and we may end up telling you, please vote for, you know, may not be in the end Justin will end up voting for it, but at least for now, I'd suggest you nominate Justin if none of you want to do it, so that is, you know, we've got someone that's good and be competent.
So we're gonna have a placeholder night and not, we're not gonna table.
If we don't want to table it tonight, because nominations are due tomorrow. So tonight, you're just asking to put someone on the ballot who I suggested is Justin, unless any of you want to do it.
I would say if he's willing, then.
And he is willing.
I certainly am tapped out with committees and other things.
Hey, I talked to Jeff, he said he was willing to do it.
He's fishing, look at what-
He's not here to tell us otherwise.
Either way.
That's usually, yeah, you're right. You don't wanna be here? Fine.
Unless you want it, Josh.
Not my interrupter.
All right.
I would do it if no one else wanted to, but if Mark Myers really wants to keep doing it, and Nicole really wants to do it. I think Justin would be happy to defer. But so for tonight's purposes, let's nominate Justin, so we've got a good competent person.
I would make a motion that we nominate Justin Hennessy as a District 24 representative to the Maine Municipal Legislative Policy Committee.
1 second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Motion carries. Anything else that we need to see?
Nothing else.
Motion to adjourn.
We'll talk about next meeting, we cancel because of the, reviews or?
Sure. So next meeting, Rose has lined up interviews for you. So if you would, I think looked like everyone was accord from what I saw. So instead of doing business at the next one, it would just be interviews that night.
Do we want to do them in this room or do we want to do them upstairs still?
You can do any way you want.
Let's see if we more, less expensive upstairs, they can wait down here for.
Yeah, are those interviews public?
Yes,
They can be.
So people can sit in on them if they
Yeah.
want to?
and they have before.
Oh, they have before, yeah.
Sure, no, we can do down here too, it's easy. Just a matter of where
It's
they,
fine by me, it's fine.
interviewees wait, where they wait.
It doesn't matter, I mean, we're gonna have a pile of people waiting out in the lobby upstairs versus somewhere else.
Yeah, they could almost wait in here and then be brought
It'll
up.
be brought up, yeah.
I'm away that night at a niece's graduation in New Hampshire, but Jeff will be here.
He can serve water and,
Yeah, I'll tan, you'll be here, I'll tan.
yeah.
All right,
Good plan.
good. Motion to adjourn. So we had a motion, and a second,
Second that.
we are adjourned.
Thanks, Patty.
Thanks for waiting us out. Night, Patty. Oh, the back phone ringing.
The best.
Good night. Good night, good night. Dreams.
Weather clears up for Monday.
What's that?
If the weather clears up for Monday.
All be done.
Hopefully, yeah.
So who's planning on walking in the parade?
I know.
Take care.
I have bad back.
Ann is not. Are you gonna walk in the parade?
I've been to Jamaica parade, I won't be this one, I'm watching.
You're not gonna be in the parade.
I'll be watching it, but
I can't drive
Yes,
my truck.
yes, you can drive, don't another vehicle.
I wonder if my father-in-law will let me drive his Mustang.
There you go.
If no one's gonna do it, I don't wanna be the only one.
I talked with,
You got the cameras on that one?
What's his name, Jeremy?